Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we'll talk about limitations of planning. The first point is planning leads to rigidity. Let's take this example. Let's say you are a movie director and I'm the movie producer. We signed up a deal. Now, as a producer, I will always have the final say in any movie project, at least with respect to the financial aspects. When we signed the deal, I gave you a target of finishing the movie and getting it ready for this Diwali's release. And we are in June. And how long do we have time for Diwali? Diwali comes in October, end of October usually. So we have 4 months gap, which means you as a director have only 120 to 140 days to finish this entire project, which means I gave you a hard deadline. This entire movie project has to be operating within this time frame. That means, again, you as a director do not have much of a room for flexibility. Let's say you have a brilliant idea to shoot a movie sequence abroad. Let's say you also have a beautiful idea, you came across a beautiful location in Europe and you feel like that it would be good to shoot a song sequence there. But we won't have the time to execute this process. So, as a director, for you, this entire project has become extremely rigid purely because of my planning. So, that's the first point. Planning leads to rigidity. Second point, planning reduces creativity. This is similar to the first point. Now, let us see a new example. I am a marketing executive in a company. I have a brilliant idea, like similar to the series of cred advertisements you must have seen, don't you? Lots of celebrities used to come in cred advertisements like Udit Narayan, Rahul Dravid, Madhuri Dixit. All these celebrity advertisements, they made very funny ads with that series of advertisements. Now I have, for my product, for this company, I have a similar concept. I have very good funny script drawn up and everything. But let's say the company that I'm working for has a strong policy, has a strong plan that we do not work with any celebrities to endorse our products, which means the management says that we don't have any plans to work with celebrities for advertisements. That puts me, the marketing executive, in a difficult position. My creativity has been curtailed to a larger extent. Now I have to think of an alternative way of how to come up with an attractive advertisement, an interesting advertisement without the help of celebrity. That means I have to rewrite my entire ad script from the beginning. So that is the second point, which is pretty similar to first point. Planning reduces creativity. Now let's go to the third point. Planning may not work in a dynamic environment. Again, I will give you a personal example. In the previous video, I talked a bit about audit plan. Regarding this point, planning is pervasive. I wanted to explain every part of the organization will have their own plan, production plan, logistics plan, and audit plan. On that context, I said we used to have a plan of visiting 6 factories every year and roughly 12 to 15 warehouses every year, depots every year. So that used to be our audit plan. Every year beginning, we will draw up this schedule. But I did not tell in the previous video whether we were able to really achieve our plan, we were able to achieve our target or not. Were we able to strictly follow our plan? The answer is no, because as an audit team, we worked in a chaotic environment. Here they have given the word dynamic environment. I would go one step further and use the word chaotic environment. What do I mean by chaotic environment? Let's say the new year begins, new financial year begins April 1st, and we started our project, we started executing our plans, and let's say we planned to go to the first factory as audit. By the time we finish, or even the time before we could finish the first audit of the first factory, we will come up with some other firefighting issue. There will be some suspicious activity that is going in some other department, some whistleblowing information that we would have received. So we might have to put that plan of auditing a factory on hold, and we would have to go to attend this more urgent problem. Similar to this, we will always have urgent and important issues rising up at almost every time of the year. There will be no shortage of crisis in the company where I worked, which means there was always some sort of somebody ringing fire alarm, financial fire alarm somewhere. So as audit team, we should always be ready to go and attend that. So what happens to our main plan? It will almost never work. We almost never achieved any of our originally planned targets. It was because of the chaotic environment. Had the company been very systematic, had the entire organization had a rhythm and harmony to it, these type of firefighting issues will not happen that frequently and that big volume in number. So that means as an audit team, the plan that we said at the beginning of the year, we will have more probability of executing them, because we would not be needing to go and attend all these sudden firefighting crises. So that's the third point. It will not work in a dynamic environment because there are a lot of other variables which are not in your control. Those variables will always have an adverse impact on you. Therefore, you will not be able to execute your problem. To give you another example, let's say you live in a joint family and you don't have a separate space, you don't have a private room or anything. That means you can hardly plan anything of your day. You can't have a morning routine. You can't have a study plan. Maybe you plan to get up at 5 o'clock and study between 5 to 7 o'clock. And what if in your house there are 5 to 7 people, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, all of them are there and they don't let you study in peace? Your house is a chaotic environment now. So that means whatever you planned to study for a week or for a month, that has gone for a toss. So that's the third point. Now, fourth and fifth point are pretty similar to each other. Therefore, I would like to explain them at one shot. Planning involves huge costs. Planning is a time-consuming process. Again, I'm telling you the reality. Big companies, what they will do at the end of the year, almost at the last week of the year, the top management and the department heads and business heads of the organization, almost 25 to 30 people, they will always book a place in a resort or in some exotic places, and they will hire a management consultant. They will carry a management consultant with them. So there they will have a lot of team building fun activities. And in those 7 to 10 days, usually this will happen at the last week of March every year. It usually starts from March 21st and it will go until March 31st. So what they will do in those 7 to 10 days, they will map out what are all the things to consider in the upcoming year. They will also have a review of whatever they did the previous year, based on which they will decide and have a plan of what they are going to do in the next year or next 3 years for that matter. So this entire aspect will cost a huge amount in the company. The management consultant will not do this for free. They will charge at least 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs per day. Let's say the company has hired that management consultant for a 5-day period. So that means the management consultant will charge at least 10 lakhs for doing this activity. So it is a time consuming process and it involves huge cost. Imagine carrying some 20-30 people to a hill station, the accommodation cost, the travel cost, the food cost, and whatever the period that they are spending in that place in the name of doing planning activity. These people are not doing the main activity back in the headquarters. So that also involves a certain amount of cost. These things form a huge limitation. Yes, planning has its advantages, but we can't ignore these two limiting factors. Now the last point is planning does not guarantee success. Again, it's an obvious point. It is important to plan, but planning alone is not everything. The best example I can give you is the New Year's resolution that we take. On December 30th, December 31st, we sit down and make a list of 25-30 things. Okay, from tomorrow, from the new year, I will work out every day. I will study Spanish for 30 minutes every day. I will not tell lie to my parents hereafter. We come up with a lot of things which is pretty wishful, I will say. Might not be connected with reality also. There is nothing wrong with planning all those things. There is nothing wrong with aiming to become fluent in Spanish or aiming to reduce 10 kilos. But will you become fluent in Spanish just by setting a resolution, or will you become fluent in Spanish by actually practicing the language? So what is more important? I will always say planning is 30%, the rest everything is 70%. What is the rest everything? Which is the execution. So again, you might have a target of becoming the number one company in your market, but again, that's just a wishful thinking, that's just a desire on paper. How do you get it happen in real execution? So that is for today's video. These are the limitations of planning. I hope you enjoyed, or I hope you learned something new in this video, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you and bye bye.